The new Haddonfield rework, Ghostface buffs and Legion buffs. We've been waiting so long for these, so let's jump into it. So just as a quick passing mention, they're optimizing their patching process once again. This time they're making the overall size of patches smaller so that there's much less to download. So let's jump into the Ghostface buffs. Now, this is not a rework by any mean, but it is a series of buffs and add-on changes, and these ones actually look really nice. So first things first, he's getting a buff of his exposure duration from 45 seconds up to 60. Nice and easy. It's just a slight numbers buff. He probably needs it. You can't argue with that. Here's a big one. Marked survivors can no longer reveal him. So this means once the Ghostface has fully stalked you and you're exposed, you can't break him out of stealth, which means he's going to be mind gaming you a lot more, and he could stalk someone else after you've been stalked. So yeah, this change is really nice, and basically they want to make it so that you want to play in teams instead of running away by yourself. Since the beginning of time in DBD, splitting up has always been more efficient than grouping together, and this is just gonna hopefully give survivors a reason to stay grouped, allow him to stalk multiple people, allow him to pressure multiple people at once. Quite nice. And now let's move on to the add-on changes. As I'm sure you guys know, almost every single Ghostface add-on is useless. There's a very small few that are actually worth using. Other than that, you might as well just go in without add-ons. So they are reworking a bunch of his add-ons, and they've given us 2 examples here. Now, I must clarify, they've said that they want to bring up the weak add-ons to the same strength as his good add-ons, so they're not going to nerf the good ones to be like the bad ones, which we've seen before. So the first add-on that we're going to see is Drop Leg Knife Sheath now gives Ghostface 10% movement speed for 5 seconds after exposing a survivor, which is actually really, really nice. 10% movement speed is no joke, and 5 seconds is fairly lenient for behavior standards, so I'm loving that. The other example that we're going to see is Olsen's Wallet, which now means that breaking a pallet or a wall immediately takes your ability off cooldown. Another really nice change, and I can't wait to see what the other ones are going to be. So far, these actually seem really nice. Next up is going to be the Legion change. Once again, these are just a series of buffs, not a serious rework, and of course, an add-on pass. So the first change that we're going to see is something that people have been talking about for ages, and it's nice to see that Behavior have taken the community suggestion for this. Legion gets a stacking movement speed buff for each survivor they hit, so you now have a reason to actually go for multiple people instead of just one. I know most people have always played where they try and injure all 4 people and then commit to someone, but more often than not that gameplay style was actually kind of bad because they would mend before you even hit, like, you know, the rest of the people, so you end up losing pressure instead of gaining it. It was iffy. So now when you get even more movement speed each time you attack someone, it makes that strategy much more viable. And here is the absolute beautiful bit here. After the 5th frenzy hit in the same frenzy, it actually instantly downs someone. So Legion now has an insta-down mechanic, which synergizes quite well with the previous buff. So he has to frenzy every single person once, and then once a single person has cleansed, they have to frenzy a 5th person, and that will insta-down them, which is so nice. Next buff is going to be a shorter fatigue duration down to 3 seconds from 4. It's a little bit lackluster, but it's, you know, we'll take it. Arguably, you could probably bring it down to 2.5 to 2 seconds, but honestly, we'll take it. We'll absolutely take it. Anything helps, and no one likes fatigues. The devs reckon that this makes the Legion feel a bit nicer to play, but still feels fair for a survivor. Maybe with the other buffs, this is a good spot. We'll see. And of course, they've reworked any fatigue add-ons because they've basically made them base kit, and they've made it so that your main ability cooldown starts the second that you go into your fatigue rather than the second you finish your fatigue. So that's a 3-second cooldown reduction on your ability. And of course, we have the add-on pass. They haven't given us any actual examples here, but they have suggested the reworked mixtape add-ons will now alter the Legion's new heartbeat music. And they do show a video of these sounds right here. Additionally, Hemorrhage has now been reworked entirely. It was the debuff that made survivors bleed more often, which was pretty much useless since, once again, as they state here, If the survivor's sprinting, you have scratch marks to track with anyway, and if they're not sprinting, the blood is already really close, so this was redundant. So now, hemorrhage gives survivors healing regression. Whenever they are not actively healing, their healing progress regresses. Now this doesn't mean that they'll take damage passively, this just means that if they heal halfway and then they don't finish it, it will start regressing 7% per second, which is quite nice. We're probably not going to see that much use of it, but it's really nice, especially in this healing meta, that we have something to help deal with medkits. Another quick passing mention, they've updated the difficulty ratings. As you know, every killer says hard or very hard or easy. They've now adjusted this to hopefully be more accurate. And the big juicer that we've all been waiting for, the brand new Haddonfield. So they pass it off as saying that the map looked a bit outdated, so they wanted to change that. I hope that wasn't the reason, because Haddonfield actually looked pretty good. It was just the most unbalanced map ever. But they've said that they have changed the balance of the map as well as the look, so hopefully this is going to be a good one. Here we can see some pictures of the new Haddonfield. Honestly, it doesn't look that different just from these particular angles, but obviously it's going to be a big difference in game. These cinematic screenshots are obviously going to be very controlled and not paint the same picture as what you'll feel in game. Thanks for watching. I'm live on Twitch every single weekday at twitch.tv/Ardetha. Hopefully I will see you there.